All right. Well, we will call the Tuesday, May 30th FARGODOME Authority meeting to order. You have the agenda in front of you. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Got a first by Dan. Second by David. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. You have the minutes in front of you. If you'd please look through those and see if there are any changes. If not, I would entertain a motion. Got a first by Nancy and a second by Rick. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there any old business in front of the authority? Hearing none, we'll go to number 3, new business and general manager's report. And Rob.
All right, thanks, Mike. We'll start with the financials for April of 2023 and year-to-date, page 3. As always, the month is on the left hand half of the page. The year-to-date is on the right hand half of the page, which I guess that we made it through a third of the year. So starting with April, we had 9 events, attendance of just over 49,500 compared to a budget of 9 events and 52,000 in attendance. We had total event income of 458,500 compared to a budget of 435,000. We had indirect expenses or expenses of 425,400, which is over the budgeted 389,000. But so for the month of April, we had a net surplus of just over 212,000 compared to a budget of $199,000, which may seem a little, based on our event load, seem a little off, but we'll explain that here. On the concert side, what we actually did is ran 2 of the budgeted concerts through to compare up to Red Hot Chili Peppers. Strong food and beverage and merchandise per caps, around 17,000 people in attendance. So when you take the two budgeted concerts combined with the revenue from Red Hot Chili Peppers, we were about 15,800 below there. The El Zagelstein Circus, we had good food and beverage sales. Attendance was a little bit down, but strong F&B sales, also merchandise sales from the circus, which we do get a small percentage of. So we're about $22,500 above budget there. And on the convention miscellaneous, the Sanford Health has another employee recognition event that was not budgeted. And then also the Kiwanis Pancake Carnival was above budget due to the changes we have made to the structure of their agreement. Still pretty generous considering the size and type of venue, but it is a good event that does give a lot back to the community in different donations. So we're about 22,800 above budget on those 2 events. And then the April meeting rooms, frankly, we didn't have a lot of time outside of arena events to do a lot of meeting room events and not have them interact. So we're about 5,800 below budget there. Other income, you can see the line item of interest, with the change in interest rates, continues to be above budget. On the expense side, labor was 13,000 above budget. Very busy month, so a fair amount of full-time overtime for those who were eligible. And also we did start, spearheaded by Sarah and Bernie and help with others, just basically a hiring campaign for nonprofit part-time labor to just kind of get the word out that we're here and we're 30 years old. Don't forget about us. We've got a lot of things coming on and could use help. So we actually have seen some good results from that, particularly on our event services side and some on our operations side. So having good results of that, and food and beverage is also picking up some nonprofit groups as well. Otherwise, operations about $6,500 below budget. The electricity expense was lower, but it was offset by higher generator expense. We did purchase a full load of fuel for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I can't remember the last time we had a tanker load purchase, but that's a lot of money. And based on the weather and everything leading up to the Red Hot Chili Peppers, we really didn't know what to expect. So we had to be prepared to do the show if the show was happening and utility power wasn't. So we were prepared to do the show based off of generator power if necessary. But thankfully it didn't come to that, but now we have a full generator. So we did allocate the amount we had in the 23 capital budget for a purchase of that, but it just wasn't comparable to the price of diesel fuel right now and a full 9,500 gallons. The G&A was $20,000 above budget. That was the professional services side of things, with part of the Baker Tilly billing came in for a lot of the financial modeling and financial analysis work we've been doing on possible renovations and things such as that. Any questions on the month of April? Okay, focusing over then onto the right half of the page for the year to date. Through April, we've had 37 events with attendance of just about 138,000, which compares favorably to the 134,500 in the budget. We've had event income of $1,452,000 compared to a budget of $1,312,500. We've had indirect expenses of just about $1.8 million compared to a budget of $1,672,000. So through the first 4 months of April, things are looking favorable. We have a net surplus of $337,000, which is $84,000 above the budgeted $252,000. Going down the line on the concerts at about $16,000 below budget, but that has run 3 concerts through 3 of the 8 concerts through the budget. It's counting the Parker McCullum date in February and the Red Hot Chili Pepper date, so we really 2 actual, but we ran 3 through. Obviously with Def Leppard, Motley Crue coming up, Pink coming up both in August, Shania Twain in November, and maybe some more throughout the rest of the year. We're in a comfortable place there, but I'll obviously still trying to fill the dates, but we are running into a weekend date crunch of really not having anything available. On the family side, $13,000 above budget. On that, we did have a 4-day budgeted family show that didn't occur, that was run through, but the rodeo and the circus both had strong rodeo attendance and per caps, and food and beverage on the per caps. On the expense side, labor, we were very busy the first 4 months of the year, actually very busy in May as well, but so about $23,000 above budget on that. A lot of snow removal labor based on heavy snow at the end of the winter, but also the wind throughout the first 3 months, and then overtime due to busy dates. Any questions on the financials?
Mr. Chair, the April month-to-date, year-to-date financials are presented at the May 24th Finance Committee meeting. Finance did not have a quorum, but there were no issues with the financials, so I'd make a motion for the authority to approve the April financials as presented.
Second.
First and a second?
So David?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Blake?
Yes.
All right, moving on then to past and upcoming events. Since our last meeting on April 25th, NDSU had their spring commencement. They moved in for the Wednesday through Friday, May 10th to the 12th, and had their 2 ceremonies at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturday the 13th. Quick changeover with the building. On Monday, May 15th, the Fargo Marathon, Essentia Health Fargo Marathon started to move in. Had their first event over at Buffalo Wild Wings, the Cyclothon, and then started moving into FARGODOME on Tuesday the 16th and having their Fargo Dog Run. And then the rest of their events, the 18th, 19th, and 20th. Attendance was up, I believe, over 20-25% from over last year, and obviously over the 2021 event that would happen in September. Has not returned to the 2019, 2018, but again, great positivity with the increased participation, and it is similar to other marathons around the country as far as just what everybody's seeing with some of their events, and particularly with the running events, are down a little bit on that. Last week, the 24th, 25th, had Driving Dynamics again doing some defensive driving training out in our west parking lots, which brings us to today. Any questions, comments on past events? Moving forward then, Fargo Public Schools, they're changing the building over and resetting it tonight and tomorrow. They will move in on June 1st and have rehearsals the afternoon of this Thursday, June 1st, morning of Friday the 2nd. And they will have their 3 graduation ceremonies on Sunday, June 4th at noon, 3 and 6. And from there, at the same time, we'll be starting to build some of the tents and events. We'll be starting to build some of the tents for Happy Harry's Rib Fest as we roll right into that Monday morning the 5th. Set up the 5th and 6th and get ready for the thunderstorms and 40-mile-an-hour winds to run Wednesday, June 7th through June 10th. So looking forward to that with Parmalee on Friday, Diamond Rio on Thursday, Fuel on Friday, and Lit as the stage entertainment on Saturday the 10th. Getting that all torn down, and then the football turf will come out the week of starting Tuesday the 13th. Both will be used by NDSU football for their 2 weeks of individual camps, as well as getting the leader repair, which is the part that connects the football turf that you see on the floor to the storage the cob in the storage pit to roll on. Which takes us to our next meeting. On June, let's go with June this time, June 27th. Questions on past or upcoming or future events from the board? Hearing none, that would conclude my report.
All right. We'll go to 3B committee reports.
Okay, we'll go to number 1A. So the 2024 operating capital budgets were presented at our meeting last week. Regarding the operating budget, I would say it's a very typical base budget of ours. You know, not a best case scenario where we include playoff games. Again, no playoff games in the operating budget, and not a worst case scenario. So we have our scheduled events in there, and net operating income is at a positive, almost just under 50,000 for the operating budget. Most everyone heard the presentation, but any comments, questions on that?
Just a couple comments on the event-wise. Obviously, our budget is very event-driven, particularly event-related revenue. Shocker that it's called that. But 2024 is kind of our on year, particularly for high school state tournaments. We host the state wrestling tournament. We host the new Class A basketball, boys Class A basketball tournament, the combined volleyball tournament, along with obviously USA Wrestling and Rumble on the Red. So it'll be a very busy year that way. A couple of things to point out that had been in here that are no longer here. The corn and soybean growers have decided to move their event out of the building, which has been the past few Februaries in the early part of the week, right before the state wrestling tournament. Obviously, with our building schedule and the long list of historical events that we've had in the building for 15 to 30 years, annually, we have a challenge in that busy time of year, February, March, late January, of plugging in new events. And so that was a challenge with the different President's Day or other holidays, trying to find a consistent date for that particular trade show or meeting conference. So they've chosen to go to a different venue so that they can kind of set their date. If changes happen going forward, maybe that will allow that event to come back. Then also the North Dakota Agricultural Association, there's typically been that very last weekend in November, first weekend in December. They've kind of gone through, they have had a leadership change. Longtime executive director Gary Knudsen has retired, and did a great job, but they, just given the state of the industry, what can be sold, they've kind of changed it over to more of a conference setting, and they don't necessarily need the trade show space that they were utilizing FARGODOME for, so they have also moved to a smaller, more meeting convention-based smaller facility as well.
Thank you. Again, we did not have a quorum to approve the budget. There were no issues.
Building did have one.
Building had a quorum, correct. So I'd ask for the authority's approval to approve the operating budget as presented.
So moved. Second.
David.
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Troy.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes.
And then the capital budget, I would put another typical capital budget. You know, usually they're in the $1.4 million to $1.7 million range. And the 2024 capital budget was $1,657,000. $922,000 of that is payment 7 for the video payment, or the video board annual payment. So then that usually, in this case, leaves about $700,000, you know, anywhere $500,000 to $700,000 for equipment and building maintenance, which kind of make up the remaining line items. Behind the video payment, the $922,000, there was $143,000 for replacement of the lift station motor that's dedicated for the FARGODOME. So those were the two bigger line items. Any other detail on that?
You know, I think it's fair to say that this was also a fairly heavy budget for grounds. Continued change in snow removal philosophies and bringing that in-house and adjusting to that. And also, this year, we spent a lot of time moving snow during events with cars in the parking lot. And saw a large challenge with our very large equipment that is designed to move snow out of very large lots with no cars. When you add cars, it tends to become a little more difficult. So this is getting a couple of smaller snow pushers to help with that. Also assist when it is the heavy wet snow that comes down, as this year we seem to get a lot of snow in November and a lot of snow in March. And that's great snowball fight weather, but it's not the best for trying to get off of a parking lot quickly with large equipment, so with some smaller equipment to adapt to that. And then the lawn tractor is both multi-purpose. Obviously, we have an existing mower, but that is reaching end of life. But this is also going to utilize on all of the exterior sidewalks for being able to more efficiently get down ice melt and or clear those sidewalks as well. So for the citizens walking past the FARGODOME.
There were a couple allocation requests in there that were approved as well. So with the capital budget, the building committee was able to approve. Again, finance did not have a quorum and didn't have any issues, so I'd ask for the authority's approval of the capital budget as presented.
So moved.
Second.
That was Nancy and Dan.
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
David.
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
Troy.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Blake.
Yes. 1B, April financials, we discussed and heard from Rob. C, project and capital budget updates, just a few updates there. Rob just talked about the turf leader and the timeline of fixing that. Fire alarm system changes. I don't know if that sign off has been completed yet, but waiting for that inspection.
I have not heard if the fire marshal has, the additional changes were done at his pointing out or
Okay.
suggestion, and so they met his guidelines, so we
Okay.
should be good there.
And then I believe the last one was Finance and Building approved the piggyback procurement request to upgrade the FARGODOME building automation system with Johnson Controls. So this is the system that runs all the HVAC.
Correct. It runs all the
Control
heating and
panels.
air conditioning. You know, the HVAC. It's the user interface, which is controlled there, but then all of the, I guess the technical term for the or the 8 engines that run the system, and then the main controller. Layperson's term on the controller side, if that were to fail, it fails to heat. So meaning if it failed tomorrow and it's 92 degrees, it would turn the heat on and start calling for a lot of steam. And so this is something that's reached end of life. It is pretty much out. It's original to the building, and we would be out 2 days to a week while Johnson Controls located pieces and got them to Fargo and to get done. So as part of this whole project, we just said, instead of piecemealing it, let's just do it all, get it done. Since it's a 30-year building, for any expansion that happens, it is now expansion ready as well. It will not be changed, or things could be added to it or have to be added to it, but these engines and these controllers are all expansion ready and ready to go with that.
And then 1D, the escrow balance and performance. So as of March 31st, the escrow balance is just over 41 million, and the year-to-date return through March is 588. And I believe we're still trying to get the State Investment Board and possibly attend the June meeting. Okay. And that is it with that. So I would make a motion to approve the Finance Committee report as presented.
David?
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Troy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Wade?
Yes.
All right, number 4, any additional items? All right, hearing none, we are adjourned.